Happy New Year, everyone, from the Franciscan Hermitage here in Indianapolis, Indiana, where we are celebrating the Solemnity of Mary. You know, as I have said so often before, these readings are here specifically to help us to live our lives with a little more joy and a little more pleasure. But, you know, you have to understand the process. And, you know, Mary is an absolutely wonderful example. If you can imagine, this is a teenager. The historians tell us that she might have been like about 14 years old. And whatever plans she had in mind for herself, all of a sudden, she gets this directive that she is going to bear a child. And her immediate response is, I am a servant of the Lord. Let it be done to me according as you say. So she didn't question. And her schedule went out the window. And she understood that God's plan is perfect, and so she is very willing to go ahead and be part of God's perfect plan. And you know, that's a fabulous example for us. You know, when we're talking about these kinds of incidents, you know, they're part of our everyday life. We just have to pay attention. When I was going through this material, I thought of my brother Jack, who was a year older than I, and we were teenagers. And my dad decided that he wanted to visit his brother Mike, who lived in California. But he had no one to take over the business, the filling station that he ran every day. That was our livelihood. And when my brother Jack found out that my dad would not make the trip unless he could find someone who could take over the station while he was gone, he said, Dad, I'll take care of it. Now, I'm sure he wasn't more than 17 years old and had his plans for the summer. But he got an internal directive that said, you know, you need to take over this responsibility. And he did. For 2 weeks, he spent every day taking care of the filling station. I couldn't imagine anybody turning down a trip to California and to stay back. But he got that directive and he followed it. And of course, we had an absolutely magnificent time. But God's directives don't always come from the inside. They come from the outside too, in the same case as Mary. You know, last month, I thought that I had the symptoms of cold. And one of our volunteers here is a retired nurse. And she said to me, Justin, you really need to get some Medicare. And so I went. And the doctor did tests. And then he said, well, you have COVID. I had been looking forward a whole year to go to Cleveland to attend my cousin's wedding. And I had my plane ticket, and all of a sudden, God speaks through Marty, the retired nurse, who says, go to MedCheck. and God speaks through the doctor and says, "You got COVID, you're quarantined." And I didn't question any of that. In fact, it was really important for me at that particular time to have those days off so that I could rebuild my immune system. And you know, God's plan is perfect. Had I gone to that wedding, I would have flown into Cleveland one day, attended the wedding, and come back the next day. Now, I have a credit on the airline so that I can take the trip during this summer and spend maybe a week or 10 days with my family. You know, God's plan is perfect. But number one, we have to listen. And that directive can come from either inside or from the outside. But if you follow it, you will find out that God's plan is perfect. And it's going to be best for you and for all the people with whom you are in contact. Now, if you're looking for a New Year's resolution, think about this. If you go into meditation every day, just go into meditation, God will give you direction. Now that may contradict your schedule, but believe me, God's plan is perfect. Follow that and you'll have a very, very full life. So my prayer for all of you during 2023 is that you will be opened to the direction that comes to you from the divine, in whatever form that is, so that daily you may be able to fit into God's plan and be able to have the fullness of the new year, filled with love, joy, peace, health, happiness, and every other good thing. I hope you have a very blessed new year. And remember, you are a powerful spiritual being. And your love makes a difference. God bless you all.